So right now I'm reading one of my philosophy books about ethics, and I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to talk about. So subjective ethical relativism versus conventional ethical relativism. Subjective ethical relativism is the moral principles. All moral principles are justified by virtue of their acceptance by an individual agent, him or herself. So it's kind of like by the individual as the person. And then conventional ethical relativism, all moral principles are justified by virtue of their cultural acceptance. Now I thought this was interesting because you could argue for both sides as to which is more relevant given the situation between subjective ethical relativism and conventional ethical relativism, but I think that both of them are equally valuable, given that because we operate as both individuals and as a society. For instance, you're a citizen of a country, and then you have your interactions with other individuals, and then you operate inside a country with a wide array of individuals, and countries interact with each other, and then you have uh, things on a bigger scale, like allied countries together, and um, so on and so forth. So it's interesting to me uh, because nowadays, given the fact that everyone has a microphone, everyone can send out a tweet or whatever. Um, it feels like subjective ethical relativism is a lot more relevant than it was in the past. Before it was like uh, you kind of had the big thing was tribes or nations battling each other, but at the dawn of the 21st century or whatever, it's a technology age, um, perhaps you are starting to see people who are there are plenty of people who don't say anything, right? They have the ability to, but they just don't say anything because they want to stay under the radar, which is fine. But with all this technology, everyone has a microphone, right? So people are always questioning other people as to what they're saying, what they're tweeting about. Like, yeah, is this is this subjectively virtuous to me? Do my virtues align with those virtues? Um, so you know how you have these like a country will abide by the ways that it likes to operate. And as a whole, people agree upon those things, kind of just like federal laws, right? Across the board, this is how our country operates. But when you have these microphones, it's just so disruptive. Like technology is so disruptive, and that people are constantly not that. I mean, you have your basic human interaction back in the day, and people go out, and it still happens today, but now you send out one tweet, everyone can see it, right? Which is just crazy. Like, this has never happened before. If you wanted to send a letter to someone back in the day, you have to write the letter out, put a stamp on it, put it in an envelope. Even like way back when, back to I don't even know, just way back when. You have your paper boy or whatever, um, like don't shoot the messenger type thing, and yeah, it's just crazy the way that people the way that people are constantly judging others by their virtues, which is completely subjective, right? It's different to everyone. the amount of times that you're questioning your own virtues, seeing how other people are doing things with technology is just crazy. It's off the charts. It's like information overload type situation. Um, and I just think that is the most interesting thing ever, because this is unheard of in human history, right? Like just me talking to a camera right now into a microphone, it's just the subjectivism about all of it to the individual is like out the roof. It's just crazy. I'm trying to think of other things that make this relevant. I guess with YouTube, everyone can create a YouTube video about whatever content they want to create, which is beautiful and in its own right, I would say has lots of advantages. But for the individuals who live in another part of the world, you're making a YouTube video and they watch it. It's kind of like and language does play a role in that. People in one country who don't speak the same language as another country, if all the content creators are in the United States, they're speaking English. People, who speak Chinese who don't speak English, there's a barrier there. So there are blocks to this, but at the same time, you people start learning other languages that are more popular. So English, people start learning English more and more. Then you kind of get this clash of ideals over technology, and that's that goes along with forums on the internet, where people communicate and people argue in the YouTube comments. I think that it's actually good, because the more arguments that are going on, it opens the other person up to new ideas and new things that they haven't really considered before, or maybe they considered taboo and they wouldn't want everyone to speak about it. But now that more people start talking about it, the communication starts flowing, and then you get new doors open to new ideas or things that they just didn't ever want to talk about or think about before, like gun control. The list goes on and on. Abortion, what have you, or maybe it's the pettiest of things on the internet. It could be like age restriction on alcohol, right? In the United States or elsewhere. I don't know. Because I know for other countries it's like you stand over the bar. You can stand over the bar, you can drink. So like people drink in Europe, they're 13 or 14 years old, right? So it is interesting just how much subjective ethical relativism is relevant in today's technological, and then people kind of have to come to a consensus together. Like, okay, is this what we agree upon? And it's interesting because you have all people from all over the world who kind of come together, right? On the internet, and they form their own kind of country or group of people, if you will. Then conventional ethical relativism applies to that, whereas before it would apply to the country that you live in, or the state that you live in, or the county, or the neighborhood that you live in, right? With the dawn of technology, you kind of form these new neighborhoods or countries with other people, and you get these mixed kind of cultural backgrounds, people of different ethnicities, but maybe have similar ideals, right? So it's very interesting to see this type of the effect of technology on all of us as individuals, and how it's just an ever changing world. But that's what I wanted to talk about for this topic. Thank you.